Are we recording? Is this thing on? So, this video, I'm finally getting it. Why am I clapping? This video, I'm finally doing it. You know when people say like, this is my most highly requested video? If I had video requests, it would be this one. I actually just get a lot of private messages from people asking this question: how do you learn Japanese? And just, you know, questions about learning Japanese, living in Japan, etc, etc, etc. So I'm fed of answering individuals about like with the same answer over and over and over again. Like, feel free to message me, but I don't know. I do say feel free to message me, but at the same time I'm tired. So this is to answer all your questions about Japan. I don't know why I did that. It's not to answer all your questions or most of your questions, or give you a general idea about how to learn Japanese. And I'm just going to give my experience, my almost 10-year experience of my Japanese journey. 10 years, okay, almost 10 years. I discovered, well, I didn't actually discover, my friend told me about this thing called anime and idol groups, and she told me about like Morning Musume, or like all that Hello Project stuff. I didn't understand it at all. I still don't understand all these idol group concept things, but anyway, she was like obsessed, and we all learned the dances, and we used to go around to, like, you know, her house or my house and watch the mirrored version of all these dances and like learn them, and it was so fun. It was generally fun. I can still do the hara hara yukai. Anyway, so after that, I was watching a lot of anime and stuff, and then I think after that I found Tumblr, and through Tumblr I was like, ooh, people dressing like this. This is fun. Because I used to dress alternatively, but never in a Japanese kind of way. I just used to, you know, when you're young and edgy and you roll up one jean leg and you wear mismatched socks. Actually, when I was like 14, I was very pop punk. I was very like Yumi at 6 and All Time Low, but we've moved on from that, but still a good place in my heart. Anyway, so what was I saying? Yeah, so anime happened, and then I think it was through Tumblr I found Japanese fashion. I think. I actually don't remember because it was literally 10 years ago. Anyway, I found it, and then I was like, whoa, cool things happening. And then I was following people through scan, because, you know, people upload scans of magazines to Tumblr, and I was like, whoa, Ikeda Hirari is amazing, Julia is amazing, all these people are amazing. And then I don't actually know what happened, because I'm trying to like give you a personal, not personal, an in-depth version of how this happened, but I forget. I'm sorry, I should have kept a diary or something. But anyway, comes to A-levels. Okay, so if you're British, you do A-levels, and depending on your A-levels, they usually are a guide towards what you want to do for university. I don't know how it works in any other country, I'm sorry. But A-levels are just like, you know, the last set of exams you take before you go to university or college. So my A-levels were French, Spanish and religious studies, and I took an AS in economics, which is a terrible idea. Absolutely terrible. Terrible at it. So yeah, as you can see, my A-levels were really like language based, and I knew that when I went to university I wanted to do a language because I'm half French and I've always had an aptitude for language. I always thought I'd do a language, and everyone was pushing me to do French or a European language, you know, because I did Spanish for my A-levels, and I just thought honestly that was like super boring. I don't know why. I mean, I still think it's kind of boring. I still think it's like, it's too safe of an option, you know. I wanted to go ham. You know, when you go uni, you just want to go ham into your education. And I didn't have a passion for French or Spanish. Like, I was good at it for obvious reasons, but I didn't see the point in studying it any further. So when it came down to it, my parents were like, you know, do what you like. You know, if you're gonna spend 4 years or three or 4 years intensely studying a subject, for 3-4 years, do something you really like, and and then you won't, you know, break down and get fed up of it. So, and they were like, you like that anime stuff, so that's what I ended up picking. And no regrets whatsoever. Only a little regret, but mostly no regrets. Should I talk about applying to uni? I don't know. Your school can help you with that. I don't remember the UCAS, whatever. Just write a good personal statement. The only thing they're really looking for is a passion for the subject. So you can't really say, oh, for most people, I'm assuming you don't have a Japanese A-level or a Japanese GCSE, because I didn't have Japanese A-levels or GCSEs. I just had languages. So when I was writing, I just said, you know, I love language and I like all this pop culture stuff, and please let me into your uni. So don't be worried if you go in with no knowledge of the language. That's completely fine, because I was taught from scratch, like day dot, 1 is itchy, 2 is knee kind of thing. So in university, so absolutely fine. And even if you don't do a language, I think if you just express your passion for it, then you should be fine. But do not, so I'm talking about pop culture and blah blah, like anime, whatever, but that wasn't the main reason I did a Japanese degree. Remember, this is education, and if you like cosplay and anime and that's it about Japan, you're not gonna get through a 4-year degree. I guarantee. It's a bit strong to say guarantee, but there is a strong possibility you're not gonna get through a 4-year degree based on your love of cosplay and anime. Like, there's gotta be, you know, something else motivating you to learn a language as intense as Japanese. Same with, I'd say, like Korean, Chinese and Arabic. You know, these are difficult languages to learn. It's a high level of education and you have to be dedicated to it. You can't go in thinking, I'm going to watch anime without subtitles, because guess what? I still can't, okay? That's not a reason you should be doing a degree. So find another reason. So for example, for me, I did a lot of reading around the Heian period. Don't know if you've heard of it. Maybe read the tale of Genji. Actually, well, I'm a nerd. Like, it's literally, it's 1,200 pages, I think. And it's not like reading 1,200 pages of like Harry Potter. It's 1,200 pages of court people writing. They got nothing to do, so they wrote this tale of Genji, and they just literally have nothing to do. And it's slightly like, the main character is just, you know, he adopts a girl and then marries the girl because the girl reminds him of his mom or his first wife. I don't know, it's just, it's weird, but he has a, anyway. So basically my point is, don't go in thinking anime, J-pop, cosplay, because that's not what the degree is about at all, sorry, and that's not what Japan is about, sorry. So you're gonna find something else to motivate you. So when you go into first year you learn super basics, so hiragana, katakana and kanji, and I would say from the outset, don't use romaji. Like, there is no point. Just, no one's gonna understand you. You're not gonna understand what you're writing. Just don't use it. Just learn your hiragana, katakana and kanji. Don't be put off by kanji, like, oh, weird symbols, I'm scared. Like, you get used to it, it's fine, you're gonna be fine. My first year, it was very, very intense, starting from scratch. Some people had done previous previous experience learning Japanese. Obviously they gave them an advantage, whereas I came in fresh. Like, but they did tell us to learn hiragana before we even got there, so I did learn that. And honestly, like, as long as you focus, you know, I learned it in a week. We were told to learn it in a week, which I did. So you'll be fine as long as you get your head down and study. And then my second year, I think by the end of second year we were supposed to be, yeah, so end of second year going into third year was supposed to be about N3, N2 level, yeah, I think. So if you know JLPT levels, I think the lowest is N6. So the Japanese language proficiency test, the lowest is N6, and obviously you start there. But by the time, you know, after 2 years they expected us to be N2, which is basically fluent. I mean, this N1 is like fluent, it's like above fluent, but N2 is like fluent, and it's employable. So if you're aiming for a job in Japan, you need N2. Maybe I should talk about my classes. For every university it's different. But for my university we had language and culture classes. I don't know how it works. Obviously you probably have language and culture, but you know, how they teach the language, where they do culture, like, it's all different. And also I would not recommend doing a joint degree, for example Japanese and Korean, unless you were super confident in either one of them, because they are both very difficult languages. So maybe you can do Japanese language and a Korean culture degree. That's just my advice, because everyone I know who started off doing Japanese and Korean either dropped one of them or changed to Korean studies or Japanese studies or both studies, you know. It's very difficult. Just, you know, for everyone's mental health, we need to look after each other. So for my classes, you know, grammar classes, culture classes. So my first year we had aspects of Japanese culture where we learnt from day 0 to 2017 of Japan's history, which was mind-blowing. We had to remember it all for the exam. It was wonderful. And I only did one essay a term, I think, for each module, which was good, because I know in like Oxford and stuff they do like one a week, which is mental. But I only did like one a term, and that was enough. That was like done. I think that's it for my classes. Yeah, I think. Anyway, so I'll move on to my year abroad, which was the highlight, the payoff for years, 2 years at that point, of intense, mind-blowing study. Sitting under a pile of books with my back hunched and wishing I could see the sun. So my year abroad was amazing, obviously, because even though I had to study 6 days a week at Waseda University, God bless them, I did manage to be in the middle of Tokyo, because Waseda's location is like, there's Waseda and there's Shinjuku and Shibuya and Harajuku and everything. This is like, it's all next to each other. It's great. So the location was amazing, and it was kind of a payoff for having to be at university 6 days a week. And yeah, so obviously from that, like, because I already had a good foundation in Japanese, I was able to work at 6%. I was able to make friends and talk to people and go out and experience everything. So, you know, make an effort if you want to, you know, not assimilate, that's not the right word. I don't know the word. My English is failing me, but you get the idea. You need to speak the language to take that extra step further to integrate. There we go. Integrate into the culture. Okay, so I went to Waseda University for a year. I was in the language bit, because there's like SILs, and then there's just like a language school, and we didn't do any culture, which was weird. We didn't do any culture modules. I know people that went to other universities, did culture modules. For example, my friend who went to Nanzan in Nagoya did a tea ceremony module, which would have been sick, but I was stuck with just language. But made great friends. Like, Japan is beautiful, it's clean, it's friendly. Just I had an amazing time. And because of my Japanese language, as I said before, I was able to, you know, go out and experience everything to the fullest. I could take a Shinkansen like without being scared. I could go in a, I only went once, and I don't know why it blew my mind, but the manga cafes, I don't know why, something about sitting in the dark with 3 screens and a PlayStation controller and just my own manga shelf, just free drinks, I don't know, something about it just connected with me. Yeah, and you know, sometimes you doubt yourself when you do like really hard languages and you're like, oh, I'm not good enough, I don't know how to say this, I don't know how to say that, I'm behind my grammar. But if you're like me, because that's how I was, but I reassured myself thinking, if I can go and book myself my nail appointment online, fill in everything, because everything's in Japanese, like fill in all the boxes, my name, my address, what I want, get to the, tell them what I want, explain, you know, I want bubbles on my nails, you know, you should be proud of that, you should be proud of yourself and what you've achieved. So Japanese is a very difficult language, but you need to remember where you started, and then you can remember, you can think about, oh, you know, I'm constantly improving. Like language is a constant learning. So every time someone says, are you fluent? I'm like, are you in your native language? Like, is anyone really fluent? I know I'm not fluent in English because I forget words, because that's what happens when you have 5 languages in your head. So yeah, my year abroad, amazing, great. And obviously because I was fully immersed in the culture, obviously, like, people complain like, you're with your friends and speaking English, you spoke English, you weren't fully immersed. You know what, I lived in Japan, okay, I lived in Tokyo, I had Japanese people around me all the time, I had to order food, that's good enough for me. I was immersed. And yeah, my language did go from, it skyrocketed, thank God. Now I can understand people. So yeah, that was my year abroad. And then my 4th year, it was just a nightmare. Because after having such an amazing time in Japan, who wants to come back, you know? Why would you do that to me? It's like hell. Okay, some other common questions that I get about, you know, university and stuff is, well, one of the common ones is your fashion, a big part of it. So obviously I dress like this, but I can safely say I'm the only one on my course who does, because people are there, you know, not just for fashion reasons, they're there for academic reasons, you know, they're there to learn a language. And like, it's actually so astounding to me that some of them have they just don't know anything about the pop culture. They, like, one of my friends, he just went to Japan, he just on a whim decided to go to Japan one day, and then from that's why he started to learn Japanese. But he didn't go the route most people go through, is like anime, Dragon Ball Z degree, you know. So don't expect everyone on your course to be like, oh, kawaii, because it's not going to be like that, especially at such a high level. So I did actually write my dissertation. I wrote 10,000 words on alternative fashion, and with like the subtitle like, is Harajuku dying, to which I concluded no. So if anyone wants to read that, actually I really want to publish it, so I might publish that, because no. Another question you might want to know is, what can you do with Japanese? Because a lot of the thought these days is, you know, doing a degree to get a job, you know, just, or to get a higher pay or graduate salary. And my thinking is like, A, study something you like first of all. Like, don't go into accounting because you're like, accounting's gonna get me money, like, because you're just gonna be sitting at a desk like, why did I do this? This is awful. Because I think, not just with Japanese but with other degrees, you will find your niche and your way. There's no need to have a preset path, because as the world is now, you don't know what the next step is. Like, you need to create. This is getting deep, but what I'm trying to say is, traditional jobs aren't the only ones. You can create your own path, your own job. You can find something that hasn't been done yet, you know. YouTube wouldn't be considered a job like 10 years ago, yet here we are, people like literally begging for that YouTube dollar. Like me, please subscribe. But so what I'm trying to say is Japanese is just as viable as a degree as medicine, accounting, law, English, whatever. What can you do with English? Seriously, you can do more with Japanese, let's be real. But yeah, so Japanese is a very valuable skill to have. It's a language. Languages are always useful, always. That's why I have 5. Just gonna drop that in there one more time. You can work in a Japanese company, you can work with sort of liaison thing. It doesn't have to be necessarily interpreting and translating, because that's what people assume. They're like, oh, you're gonna be a translator, you're gonna be an interpreter. Like, it doesn't have to be directly linked to the language. It can be something to do with outside of Japan, or just a part of it, or you could just do something that's not related to Japan at all. Like, just doing a Japanese degree, your job doesn't have to necessarily link to something Japanese afterwards. I mean, it would make sense if you enjoy it, but if not, feel free to be a journalist in Hungary. Like, Hungary isn't a country club, it's Hungary. Anyway, my brain, Hungary, really? So the next steps after your degree, like, what do I want to do now? And most people want to move to Japan. Well, most, some, none, a few, I don't know. Those who want to move to Japan, this is the information for you. So if you want to move to Japan, you will need a visa, and you can have a tourist visa, which only lasts for 3 months. You don't have to apply for it, you just go and you live in Japan for 3 months. But there's also the working holiday visas. The working holiday visa was designed to encourage people to move abroad to Japan to experience it, because there's not a lot of foreigners going to Japan because of the strict visa laws. But yeah, so working holiday visa is very open. It lasts for a year, and it's designed to like get you to travel around Japan, see the sights, encourage immigration, blah blah blah, but take advantage of it and just, you can go and live in Japan for a year. So what you need to do is, if you're interested in living long term possibly in Japan, is to Google your embassy. For me it's UK embassy. Just type UK Japan embassy and it'll have the visa requirements on the website. And the other visa option is the working visa, and you need a company, usually a Japanese company or just a company, to sponsor your visa to work in Japan, and then through them you're able to renew your work visa. So it'd be for a year, 3 years, or 5 years, whereas the working holiday visa is only once and it's non-renewable. So obviously most people know that the easiest way to obtain a visa or to get a job in Japan is being an English teacher, or if you're not English, like a French teacher, you know, a language assistant kind of thing. So I think there's GABA, which is the language center. There's there's another one, and you have to wear suits and you can't have pink hair. So not for me at the moment. The other option is, you know, working holiday visa, and when you're out there on the working holiday visa, you look for you build up your Japanese. Maybe you go to a language school, build up your Japanese, and then you apply for a job, like a proper work visa will sponsor you, etc. And in the meantime you can work part-time, something like that. Or another option is you enter a company that has an office in Japan, and eventually they might transfer you to Japan. So, you know, there's more than English teaching, I'm trying to say. There's other routes to be able to get a visa to stay long term in Japan. One thing I did not explain that I should have when I was talking about university is, how do you go about learning Japanese? Well, my dears, here's some answers. University is one. They will tell you which textbooks to get. I used Minna no Nihongo and a blue book and a red book, and I will post them somewhere because I forgot the names. And Minna no Nihongo covers like super basics, and then the blue book is N3 to N2, and then the red book that we used was N2 to N1 maybe, or just high level N2, I can't remember. And also the websites Memrise are really good, and oh yeah, Jisho. So Jisho is Japanese for dictionary, but if you type in Jisho, there's an online dictionary. In terms of apps, I used imiwa, so IMIWA, and oh, Yomiwa. Yomiwa was the other one. So YOMIWA. And the Yomiwa is really useful because you can use the camera to hover over sentences, and it can identify different characters and read it for you. And imiwa is really good because it doesn't require Wi-Fi or 3G or whatever, so you can use it offline. What else is there? I think that's it. I'm sorry this has been long, but you know, my Japanese journey has been very long, and I'm happy to say it has cultivated me obtaining a working holiday visa and moving to Japan for a year, so that's kind of a nice ending to my journey. So from learning from anime to learning at university, and you know, going abroad, and now spending, you know, at least a year in Tokyo. It's gonna be fun. Really, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I think that's it for my Japanese journey. I hope I've provided enough information about how to learn Japanese, like how to get to Japan, that sort of stuff. And if there are seriously any burning questions, I don't know what you could possibly ask me after this, comment and I might do a part 2, I guess, or like a Q&A, FAQ kind of thing. But please remember, I'm not a fountain of knowledge about Japan. I'm not Japanese. I lived there for a year. I can only answer things from my experience. So yeah, I'm not a wealth of all things Japan knowledge. And yeah, if anyone ever asked me questions that have been covered in this video, I will just link you the video, because I'm not answering any more questions about this ever again. Da, da, da. It's really annoying. Yeah, so thanks for sticking with me. It's been a long video and I'm tired. I think that's it from me, and thank you for watching. Bye.